and fight against hunger.
That's
in the city's
legit the ray gun from Nazi zombies. Come on now. Yo, you're really going to call something else? I'll at least use different color schemes for something like this, bruh. I'm loving it. But that's from Nazi zombies. Richtofen made that. Wonderful.
Later, in the void.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. And man, guys, I missed you. It's been a little while, but hey, hopefully we got a banger for us today, man. This looks pretty juicy, man. A few of you guys recommended me this one, so I'm intrigued to see what this is all about. This is SCP-2099, Brain in a Jar. So pretty self-explanatory. I would assume it's going to be brain in a jar, but I would think the brain itself was maybe from like a mad scientist or some kind of genius, and he created like a robot body so he could actually move around again. Who knows? They could do a lot with this, so I'm excited to dive deep. So with that being said, if you guys are excited for this reaction and you do enjoy it along the way, please remember to smash that like button for me, smash that sub button for me as well too, and always hit that bell so you can stay plugged for each and every upload. And like what I say on every video, if you enjoy my content, you like SCP reactions, this is the best place to be on the tube to get your fix of SCP heat. So with that all out the way, without any further ado, let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-2099, Brain in a Jar. Let's go.
Let's return to 2003, a time before YouTube. Yes, we know that's a frightening thought.
Way
we
back
ask
when.
that you take a deep breath and compose yourself so we can get through the rest of the story. While YouTube may not have been invented for another 2 years.
They're hella excessive bringing up caveman. Like 2003 was that long ago. Like, come on, it is, but the caveman though, yo.
The burgeoning internet of the early 2000s still wasn't without its content creators, posting everywhere from basic social media sites to personal GeoCities websites and specialty forums.
And blogs.
One of these
Those
early
are big.
proto-content creators was a man named John Cutler, better known at the time by his online handle, John Station.
Wow.
John Station was, tragically, a man operating before his time.
Tragically.
His interests were firmly based on three things: mysteries, the paranormal, and urban exploration.
Oh, that's
If he'd
just
been
what I do.
operating a mere decade later, he would have made a killing on Urbex videos or scary 3 a.m. challenges.
Dang.
But instead, he was just sharing his urban exploration photos and videos with a small group of friends on various niche internet forums.
MySpace?
Like Parawatch, a premier destination for lovers of the strange and unusual online. Little did he know, an anomalous being he was about to encounter was an even more prolific internet user than him. But let's start from the beginning. John Station was making his way to the city of Detroit, Michigan on a Greyhound bus. Detroit had become somewhat of a holy land for dark tourists, photographers, and urban explorers.
Really?
It'd once been one of the most valuable manufacturing hubs in the United States, the very heart of the automotive industry, until all of those manufacturing jobs were outsourced to other countries for cheaper labor. This, along with a number of other factors, led to a devastating economic collapse that the area is still suffering from today, along with a huge number of abandoned residential, commercial, and industrial buildings just waiting to be explored. And John Station planned to start off with a real staple of the Urbex genre.
So he was like paranormal activity type stuff. So it's different from what I'm doing. He's actually in the cut doing all this crazy stuff. Well, all the way to Detroit. I can actually see how that could be blown up if he did in today's age, but let's see what happened to him.
Derelict warehouse. He was expecting to get some cool photos of disused machinery and maybe some cool graffiti left by anonymous street artists over the years. But what he certainly didn't expect was a series of 13 massive underground structures hidden below the warehouse.
Yo,
Something
what?
that looked like it would have taken decades to even excavate the room for, let alone actually build. The whole thing seemed like some kind of obscenely massive workshop. Strange machinery, shelves upon shelves of paper and notes, spare parts laying around everywhere.
This is the house
What
of
had happened
2099.
But as John Station continued his search into the bowels of this labyrinthine warehouse, he came upon the most strange and disquieting discovery of all.
The brain?
A large glass jar filled with green liquid, and a perfectly preserved human brain floating inside.
Wow, so it's just the
Of
brain.
course, he took some pictures to share with his forumite buddies and got the hell out of Dodge. John Station had made what was, for any self-respecting Parawatch user, a terrible mistake.
Really?
Because he was too busy listening to Avril Lavigne on his big, clunky early 2000s headphones, he didn't hear the brain's attempt to communicate with him.
Oh, hello, young man. Are you here to see my marvelous inventions? Young man?
But he was already gone by then. Little did John Station...
Yo, he dropped the ball. Who's jamming out to music when you're in some mystery labyrinth? Come on, John. John Station, you're better than this, bro. Like, rookie mistakes, man.
No. He just encountered one of the greatest human minds of his generation, Jeremy Valdez. An inventor without equal. And what's more,
Okay.
he may have actually encountered this singularly intelligent individual before. Thanks to Jeremy's brilliant foresight and the invention of a little something he called the V-Wave Universal Ansible, this disembodied brain was connected to the internet. What exactly was it doing with that internet connection? Everything from being a frequent forum poster to selling anomalous technology on the deep web.
Wait, what?
While we don't know much more than that about the brain's
He's doing
browsing
all that?
habits, it goes without saying that we'd kill to see a copy of its internet history.
Yo.
When John Station returned home, he posted a picture of the brain to the internet, telling his fellow Urbex buddies to go and check the warehouse out. Naturally, this caught the attention of the SCP Foundation, who saw a mysterious human brain hiding in a secretive underground structure in Detroit to be a certifiably anomalous development.
Damn.
And really, they didn't know the half of what they were about to get into. Welcome to the mind of Jeremy Valdez. After all the proper witnesses had been given amnestic treatment, the Foundation secured the warehouse and began exploratory missions into its bowels. It was exactly as John Station reported, a chaos of junk and shelves upon shelves of almost incomprehensible notes and
I want to see his
diagrams.
experiments.
While agents searched for the brain of Jeremy Valdez, they encountered what would be later known as SCP-2099-B,
there we go.
his wondrous, anomalous creations. Most of these creations are robotic in nature, with some of them being known as peripherals, creations made specifically to help Valdez continue his research in his disembodied brain form. And they weren't exactly
Dang.
pleased about the Foundation intruding on Jeremy's extremely
Get 'em.
important research. They tried to defend his secret lair beneath the warehouse and were destroyed in the firefight with Foundation personnel.
Damn.
Only 5 peripherals are active now, which the Foundation uses as collateral in their deal with Valdez for his continued cooperation. To put it less politely, if he doesn't play ball, then the last of his peripheries get terminated. Thankfully for him and the Foundation operatives assigned to his case, Jeremy is a highly cooperative anomaly
Yeah.
who has consistently behaved pleasantly towards Foundation staff.
I mean, he's probably doing this because he's super smart. He probably knows he doesn't have any other options. He's a brain in the jar. So he's just probably cooperating because he has no other choice. I'm sure he's going to figure something out. The SCP Foundation, this is what I'm talking about. When some situations where the SCP is not bothering anyone, legit in a warehouse, labyrinth somewhere, not doing any harm, why are you so adamant about destroying his creations and taking them along with you? It's like, come on now.
That's right. He's able to communicate directly with others by anomalous means. However, while having a direct line to the mind of this enigmatic ball of gray matter would seem like a dream to your typical researcher,
Too
the
much.
cooperation of Jeremy Valdez has been less valuable than the Foundation initially believed it would be.
I bet.
This is largely because Jeremy's mind appeared to be pretty similar to his workplace. Strange, chaotic, and hard to decipher.
That's what I'm saying. How about you just leave him alone? At least monitor the area to make sure he's not doing anything like crazy, which I doubt he is. But like, just study it. Don't like take him out of his environment where it will just be more problematic for you to do research on him. Come on now.
When they first asked who exactly he was, his response was, "I am the profound Professor V, the genius who invented the quantum pistol, the rocket to Sagittarius, the window to other worlds. My name is Jeremy Valdez." Jeremy. There was another Jeremy I met once. Well, lots, but the one stuck in my mind. Clever man, salesman. Can't trust them an inch if you give them a mile, but that wasn't me. He's a little scatterbrained, to put it politely.
Oh my God.
Many of his answers, while strange and amusing, have been largely useless to the Foundation. For example, when they asked him how he was able to construct this secret facility, he said, "Oh, dug it all out. Tricky bit was the supports. Used solid Valdesium to hold it up. That's my own invention. Name, trademark, patent pending, unless I forgot to send in the application." And when they asked how he was able to survive as a mere brain in a jar, he had the equally baffling and frustrating response, "Good diet and exercise, healthy living. Oh, and the electrolytes. It's in my notes somewhere, the whole process. Never will look at mashed potatoes the same way, I'll tell you that." There may be at least some truth to that last one, as the solution inside Jeremy's jar has been tested and proven to be water mixed with electrolytes, sugars, green food coloring, and artificial flavoring. The current working theory on the green food coloring
really?
is simply that Jeremy thought it would make his disembodied brain look cooler. Jeremy
Wow.
truly proves that the lines
He's not wrong, though. He's not wrong. If it was like anything else, it wouldn't look as cool.
between genius, madness, and outright buffoonery are far more malleable than any of us could have imagined. It's because of Jeremy's forgetfulness that he and his peripheries are such meticulous note-takers, though there is no discernible filing system for this absurd multitude of notes. And the majority of them are written in quick and scratchy shorthand that only Jeremy himself seems to be able to decipher.
Oh,
But
well,
of
that's smart for
course,
him.
the most fascinating part of the story of Jeremy Valdez is his creations. So now we're going to take a better look at those inventions, and some of the stress that the Foundation has been going through in order to track the rest of them down.
Alrighty.
The peripheries are a varied bunch. Some are as simple as a pair of robot hands that endlessly take notes from Jeremy's unstoppable stream of consciousness. Some are as theatrical as humanoid robots dressed like butlers. We can't help but wonder how Mr. Deeds from SCP-662 would
Oh,
feel about
God.
this extra competition.
That'd be crazy.
However, the peripheries are really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Jeremy's overall body of work. Let's take a crash course through some of the peculiar inventions they discovered in Detroit. A pistol that fires out powerful X-rays,
The quantum pistol?
inexplicably powered by 2 ordinary AA batteries,
You see him at a
and
rocket
focused
or
via a
something.
non-anomalous quartz crystal. A 6-meter-tall humanoid robot constructed primarily from chrome and steel.
Jesus.
A cannon that fires anomalous robot ninjas. No, that isn't a joke.
What?
The cannon fires cartridges that anomalously break open, revealing human-sized robots wielding swords and nunchucks.
Yo, what the
A
hell?
bin labeled Cyberparts, which was filled with a multitude of cybernetic
What?
prosthetic body parts, though none of these parts had any mechanisms that would allow them to interface with the human nervous system. But wait, there's more. A huge excavation vehicle with massive drills and claws that make the dirt it displaces disappear, perhaps explaining how Jeremy managed this little construction project. A rocket-based spacecraft with sediment stuck to its landing gear that indicates it's been on the moon at some point in the past. A force field generator so effective that the Foundation is still unable to penetrate it because Jeremy himself has, unsurprisingly, forgotten how to turn it off.
He is
Failed
old.
anti-gravity machine that instead just creates more gravity, meaning anything or anyone brought into its vicinity becomes twice as heavy as they would be under normal conditions
Well, that
of
sucks.
Earth gravity. In case
Unless, like, you're trying to train, like in some Dragon Ball Z type setting, so you can work out harder. I mean, that would be kind of cool.
you needed a little dose of existential terror today,
hurt.
it's also a complete working simulation of an entire alien solar system, somehow held on only 2 gigabytes of memory.
Damn.
And of course, we wouldn't be doing Jeremy Valdez justice if we didn't tell you how obsessed he is with lasers. The Foundation even found a large containment unit on the site, labeled 713 different laser guns, which contained, yep, you guessed it, 713 different laser guns.
So you could
We
use them
imagine at
all.
least 1 or 2 of these ended up in Foundation Armory, or at least the personal office of Dr. Bright.
Wow.
Well, if they could only figure out how this absurd, ridiculous technology actually
He would
worked.
snag one.
The most challenging part of containing SCP-2099 isn't the brain itself, though the picture of Jeremy's brain is still circulating out on the internet today, if you know where to look. It's finding and containing the anomalous items that Jeremy left laying around in his life before containment. Because Jeremy himself has a brain like a colander, even finding these items is largely a result of picking up clues from his bizarre ramblings, and thousands of pages of nigh incomprehensible notes he won't stop babbling on about. While trying to find one of Jeremy's items in an alley in Boston, Massachusetts, Foundation agents
would it
ran
be
afoul
there?
of a group of Chaos Insurgency agents searching for the same thing.
The heck?
But this wouldn't be the last peculiar tie between Jeremy and certain groups of interest pitted against the Foundation. In a soup kitchen in Seattle, Washington, the Foundation
Seattle.
found that Jeremy had once
A
sold
ray
an
gun?
enlarger ray to agents of the Mana Charitable Foundation,
What?
a surprisingly benevolent GOI who use anomalies to help the needy. They used the enlarger ray to enlarge food and fight against hunger
That's
in the city's
legit the
homeless
ray
population.
gun from Nazi zombies. Come on now. Yo, you're really going to call something else? I'll at least use different color schemes for something like this, bruh. I'm loving it. But that's from Nazi zombies. Richtofen made that. Wonderful.
And while visiting an area in Boise, Idaho, after Jeremy once mentioned having customers there, the Foundation discovered substantial connections to a member of a serpent's hand cell. It seemed to all observers that Jeremy was a kind of anomalous Forrest Gump, a man who had somehow bungled his way through a series of unfortunate arrangements with several of the Foundation's greatest enemies. He's a brain with an awful lot of bad luck.
Jesus.
Or is he? Because while the Foundation has bought his bumbling fool shtick hook, line, and sinker, that doesn't mean it's true.
It's probably
In
capping.
fact, in a classified letter to a member of the Serpent's Hand that worked closely with him in the past, Jeremy presented a very different picture of himself. Hey Al, I got your letter. Yeah, I'm not too worried about this Seco Pro. They're still digging at the old place. Psychology of the individual man.
What did I
They're
say?
like cats. You run, they're going to chase you. But if they see something else moving, that's where their eyes are, leaving you to jet. The tail? Oh yeah, he's fine. He's designed for this stuff, man. And not like he's really there or anything. They get wise, we pull the plug and get away free and clear. Anyway, I got some new toys I came up with. Robots the size of fleas. They grab onto a guy, get carried wherever. They record what they see, hear, leave with whoever, and detach where you need them.
What the
No
heck?
signal or trace, because they don't broadcast. You get it all when you collect them. I figured it'd be useful for that project of yours. I know, not your usual style, but
What
get with the
project?
times, man. If you care to join me in the 22nd century, leave payment in the usual place. Ask Schiltz if you don't remember. And please, man, let me take a look at that hat. I just know I can make it better. You have goddamn lasers firing off your head. Think about it. V.
This
So what
guy's
do you
cool.
think? Is Jeremy a bumbling brain in a jar?
He's definitely not. That's why I said in the beginning of the video. He's just going to lead them on to make it seem like he's being cooperative with them. But he's too smart to act like this. That's why I was so surprised. Like, yo, like, he shouldn't be this slow. Like, he built all this stuff. Like, come on. He was playing the act and he did it right. Because with the SCP Foundation, it's their way or the highway. And he was smart enough to realize that way early. So that's good for him.
Or is that very brain a decoy for one of the most ingenious and deceptive masterminds in the anomalous world?
Yep, the latter.
An anomalous Kaiser Soze, always staying one step ahead of the Foundation while sending its agents on wild goose chases? Well, the fact we even need to ask shows that Jeremy Valdez is a few steps ahead of us already. Now go check out
Dang.
SCP.
I'm surprised Jeffrey didn't work for the SCP Foundation when he was alive. But we don't really have a time frame when he was alive and when he died and became a brain. But it was noted that the kid, John Station, he saw him when he was alive. So it's kind of weird. Like, we don't really know the timeline when he was alive and when he became a brain, or was that really recent when John saw him? Because John looked like the same age when he saw Jeffrey. So it must be within like a few years when that actually happened, you know? So, yeah, let me know what you guys thought about that. At least that aspect within this animation down in the comments below. And actually let me know what you guys thought about this animation and if you guys enjoyed the reaction. Man, this was really, really cool. I definitely might have to dig deep in the file to see who Jeffrey was really affiliated with when he was alive and the time frame when he became a brain and wasn't a brain, because that might answer some of the questions I have. But if you guys have the answers, feel free to share in the comment section below. So with that all out the way, unfortunately, that concludes today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one.